Right guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the decision yesterday evening which was made by York City Council to grant Uber an operator's licence for the city. So if we cast his mind back to 2017 when Uber previously had a licence before that, but it was not renewed in 2017, and I'll put the link in the comments to the original council meeting video from 2017 where the application was refused. So all that did at that time, so we had some York licensed drivers driving for Uber. So as soon as the council decided not to renew the license, it basically put its own licensed drivers out of work who were driving for Uber at the time. So Uber has still been available in York since then. So good service has been provided by Leeds, Bradford, Kirklees, Calderdale, Wakefield licensed drivers, and I do believe Sheffield, Doncaster and Rotherham as well could possibly work on the Uber platform in York. So I'm licensed with Bradford Council, so I have actually been and done some work in York. Took the time to study the road layouts and the places where we can and can't stop. And when I've been working in York, any jobs which come up where there's a passenger stood in a silly place, like at a bus stop or on a road where I know it's tricky and to pick up, I would just not bother with those jobs. I'd just decline them. So I'd only look for the jobs where the rider's taking the time to stand, in a good spot for a quick and easy pickup. So I'd been over, sometimes just on a weekday. I've been over when there's been events on in York, like at York Races, which has been quite busy, shall we say, especially the Ebor Festival. So even with all the York licensed vehicles from local companies and a good amount of Uber vehicles in the city, when it's a race day, there still isn't enough vehicles to meet the demand. So, it's one of those, legally we are allowed to pick up in York, and we always have been. It just meant that York licensed drivers weren't able to work for Uber anymore with a York license. So what some drivers did were obviously apply for a license in neighbouring councils such as Leeds, Bradford, etc. So it's good news that they have actually granted the license. So what that means is obviously we'll still be able to work on Uber there as normal. Nothing will change there, but it will mean that now York licensed drivers will be able to apply to join Uber, and we'll be able to work Uber in York. But it's actually a bonus for York drivers, because not only will they be able to work in York, they'll be able to work in the areas which come under the region. So a York licensed driver who signs up to Uber can work for Uber in York, Harrogate, Leeds, Bradford, Kirklees, Calderdale, Wakefield, Barnsley, Sheffield, Doncaster and Rotherham. So that's quite a big area. And I do believe, obviously, because I've got an operator's licence recently for Hull as well, that's probably going to be included on there. So from a York licensed driver's point of view, there's some good earning opportunities there, and chance to get out of York, maybe if you want to work in Harrogate or anywhere else in the region. It gives you that flexibility, or if you get a fare out of York, say to Leeds, say Leeds Bradford Airport, you can then go online, you can do a few small jobs around Leeds Bradford Airport, and then if you want to work your way back to York, the world's your oyster really. So when I've been over in York working on Uber, I have encountered some difficulties with the York licensed drivers. So I've seen the way they behave. Let's just get this straight though. It's not all of them. It's a minority of them. They have like a bit of a, how shall we put it? I'd say a childish sort of mindset. This sort of behaviour I've not really seen since high school, you know, in the playground and what have you. So issues I've encountered when I've been there. So I dropped someone off at York Station in the area where we're meant to drop off. I had another pickup, but I was then going to work my way around to the area at the side where we do pick up. However, the woman came over and tried to get in the vehicle, so I tried to explain to her we can't pick her up here. Within about 30 seconds, a very militant York Hackney driver came marching over, giving me what for, telling me I can't pick up there, this, that and the other, pointing at the cameras, and he was just, you know, just a bit, how shall I put it, in your face, let's say that, in your face he was. So I explained to him, I've just dropped off, I am allowed to drop off here, I'm aware of the regulations, I've studied the regulations, this passenger is a follow-on job, she doesn't know that I can't pick her up from here. So before you actually came over and started mouthing off, I was going to actually explain to my customer, just walk round the corner, I'll just finish up here, and then I will come round and I'll pick you up from the place where we meant to pick you up. Well, this driver is just going on and on and on and on. And you know what? I'll have a conversation with somebody, you know, but this, you know, it's pointless talking to someone like that. He's just in that mindset. Anybody with an Uber badge, it's as though he's waiting on the Hackney rank, looking for trouble, in my opinion. So that was a bad experience there. So he's mouthing off in front of my customer who got a young child with her. So, you know, we weren't picking her up from there, but she was a follow-on job. So, you know, she was picked up from around the corner. So, yeah, so that was that. And then also I had a passenger who said she felt sick. So we're driving through York. There was 3 lanes, 2 or 3 lanes, I believe, on the road. So I said, oh, well, we'll see if we can pull over and, you know, if you need to be sick, you can be sick, sort of thing. So I'm stuck in the middle of the road trying to indicate, and this York licensed private hire driver starts beeping his horn at me, waving his fists, wound his window down, called me an effing, you know, the W word, and, you know, just generally rude. And this was while he had a passenger on board, so I don't know what his passenger must have thought. So anyway, we got over to the side. My passenger, she was sick a little bit, but it was only a little bit. So that's why I was in the middle of the road, because we was trying to obviously wait for a gap to get across. Because obviously, you know, as a fit and proper private hire driver, you have to make sure the passenger's going to remain safe, and you have a duty of care to them. So we got her over to the site. She was sick. You know, out of the vehicle, dropped her off, everything was fine. Then also at the train station, I'd witnessed some York licensed drivers making racial comments against some of my fellow Uber drivers, shall we say. So, you know, again, these are fit and proper, or supposed to be fit and proper people or persons, but, you know, to hear that, it's absolutely disgusting. You know, so, you know, if they'd done it in a police officer there, they'd have probably been arrested for it. So we've seen that. I also saw a York licensed driver blocking on purpose. He was laughing about it, one of my fellow Uber drivers at the train station. So again, very childish, there's no need for it. And then also, you know, I've been parked up, minding my own business at Clifton Moor Retail Park. I've had York licensed drivers literally just pull up outside of me, knock on window and ask me what I'm doing there. And, you know, just say, well, you know, it's none of your business. If I'm here to work, if I want to work, you know, kindly go away, sort of thing. You know, and funny thing is, actually, I weren't even doing Uber then. I was planning to Uber in the afternoon. I was just doing, I had Just Eat registered there, so I was actually doing some work for Just Eat. Wasn't even doing any work for Uber anyway. But that you know, that doesn't matter anyway. So these sort of issues, you know, we've come across when we've quite lawfully visited the city of York to obviously service the needs of the passengers there. Also, as well, I did hear as well there was a female driver who was licensed. I think it was either Leeds or Bradford. She had some sort of incident with the York licensed drivers, and she was reduced to tears. So it's absolutely disgusting how a small minority of the York licensed drivers behave. There's no need for it. And what I have noticed when I'm in York, it's really weird. There's some sort of like how can I put it, like a pack mentality amongst all the York licensed drivers. Quite militant. They seem to think that they own the place, and they don't like anybody from outside coming in. So, in my view, a lot of the drivers have got an outdated attitude. Uber, it's been around for a while now. It's expanding all the time. It's going to be around, and it is actually, for a York licensed driver, another revenue stream, good opportunity to make some good money. So I don't know why they're so against, Uber being in a tourist city. It's a big tourist city, is that? We have, I've had passengers when I've picked up there, they've come from America, China, Australia, all over. So a lot of them tell me, when they go to these big tourist destinations, they obviously expect, to be able to get an Uber there, and it's a reasonable price, There's a cost of living crisis, so Uber do cater, for passengers that may be, not flush at this time. So, So what we're going to do now is talk about, going forward, what will it mean for drivers who already drive there, licensed from elsewhere, and then the York drivers. So anybody who's been working in York on Uber, you can just continue as normal. Shouldn't be any issue there, but then obviously as time goes on, you're going to see York plated vehicles with the Uber stickers working alongside us, hopefully providing a good service, to the passengers there. That was it. Yeah, another thing I did as well. So I learnt the road system quite well. So I can go over to York and go online. I can pick the jobs which aren't going to cause me trouble picking up or dropping off in in tricky locations. So I only take the jobs where the passenger is in a place where I can literally just pull up. We can load them up without causing any problem for any other road users or breaking any traffic regulations. We do get a lot come through. Requests where you're just asking for trouble if you try and pick them up from there. So what you do, you just decline those. We're not obliged to accept any job Uber send us. So you do need to cherry pick and pick the ones where the riders take time out to stand in a good place for a pickup, and has put a good place for the drop off. So one thing I did as well is, because I worked for an IT company for 25 years, so we've done work in York on and off over the years, so I do know York pretty well anyway. And I've also visited most of the visitor attractions there. So what I did as well, I managed to get hold of a load of official leaflets, all about the tourist destinations and stuff. So if passengers were asking me, I could tell them all about it, and I could hand them a leaflet, on it, so... for York drivers to say we don't know the roads or, we haven't got a clue. Well, actually, I took time out. I actually spent quite a lot of time just driving round the city, just refamiliarising myself with the road layouts where we can and can't pick up. Not making any money doing that. Just learning the roads, and took time to obtain a load of leaflets for, things like the York Dungeon, Castle Museum, the Viking Centre and whatnot. So when I get a passenger ask me about the city, I can tell them all about the history. I can tell them all about the bars, restaurants there. When go shopping, the designer outlet. Even know the best place, the best entrance to drop them off there as well. So I don't buy that when York licensed drivers are coming out with comments like that saying we haven't got a clue, we don't know how to drive this, that and the other. The standards we have to reach to be licensed by, well, I'm licensed with Bradford Council, like I said. It's quite strict. The vehicle is given a safety check once a year. It's quite a thorough check. We have to make sure all our livery is compliant, no smoking stickers. We have to have a fire extinguisher on board, first aid kit, you know, so you know, as far as with the vehicles are safe. You know, we do often get stopped as well by enforcement. I've been stopped once. You know, obviously they check your insurance, they check your tyres, everything, this, that, and the other. Your driver on Uber is always going to be insured because we have to upload the documents, obviously, as you know, to Uber. So without that on there, they'll just block his account until we provide the insurance. Yeah, so you know, well, it'd be interesting to see how many drivers licensed by York City Council will actually you know, sign up to Uber, and rather than see it as a, you know, a blow, a devastating blow, which I think a lot of the drivers do, it's actually a good earning opportunity to break away from the norm, you know. You know, I mean, there's companies there in York, you know, which when Uber had local cab, I know Streamline were actually taking local cab jobs. So you already had York companies doing Uber trips anyway, you know, albeit by the local cab, which has now been disbanded. So there's no local cab anymore. So yeah, so it's interesting times, you know, and I'll probably will go back to work in York a couple of times a year. I think I'm going to go over for the Ebor Festival because, like I said, the demand, it just goes off the scale there. So, you know, you could probably send every car in the country and there still won't be enough, you know, and it's always a good atmosphere. Majority of the race goers always in a good mood, and you know, it's a good earning opportunity. So we're going to wrap it up shortly. Also in the comments, just to prove, you know, what sort of childish things some of the York licensed drivers have done in the past, I'll put a link to a YouTube video which they made, which was sort of like trying to show Uber in a bad light. I mean, yeah, fair enough. There's a couple of cars there which have crashed. But, you know, there's only a couple there. You think how many journeys take place. You know, we don't even know whose fault it was. You know, most of them, it might not even be the Uber driver's fault. And also what they forgot to put on that video, which was making fun of Uber and our drivers, they forgot to actually put any incidents of their own vehicles, you know, breaking traffic regulations or involved in collisions, which when I've had a look online, the numbers are quite high, to be honest. They're probably higher of the collisions with the York licensed vehicles than the Uber vehicles. So, you know, again, it just shows the mentality, you know, they gone to the trouble to make a video of a small minority of Uber drivers maybe making you know, small mistakes they probably didn't mean to make, but the York licensed drivers are just making a load of fun of it. So yeah, so it'd be interesting to see as well where Uber also try and obtain operating licenses where either they've had them in the past or tried to get them and they've not been granted them. You know, for a local authority not to grant an operator's license, they have to have really, you know, a strong case, you know, for why they can't, you know, they can't just say, no, we're not, you know, there has to be a strong case, because potentially the you know, the potential operator could take them to court, obviously, for that if they refuse, you know, the operator's license, and they don't think it's, you know, being done correctly. So Hull's got a license as well. So excuse me, I'm not sure if at the moment that's just going to be bolted on to the Yorkshire region. So that would be quite good for York drivers. getting any jobs on Uber out of York towards Hull, they'll then be able to pick up, maybe get a job back. So yeah, so one more thing before we go as well. Apparently, when Uber first got the license in York, a lot of the local companies said to their drivers, I'm not saying this is this is definitely the case, but this is what I've been told by many people, is that if the York licensed drivers went to drive for Uber, they'd never ever be able to drive for any of the local companies again. So they're trying to bully the drivers who are self-employed anyway. They can work for whoever they want. It's nobody else's business. They're trying to bully them into not working for Uber, or threatening them, saying, well, if you go and work for Uber, that's it. You're never ever working for any local company again. So it'll be interesting to see if we hear any stories of any local companies saying to the drivers, if we find out if you go work for Uber, you're not working for us anymore. Because if they were to do that, obviously as an operator, that would make them not fit and proper, because it's not for them to decide who an independent contractor works for. So potentially that could happen again. So we need to keep an eye out on that. Any instances, we need to let York City Council know about it and nip it in the bud. Another benefit as well for a York licensed driver is if you're driving for Uber, literally you can go online, offline, whenever you want. There's no minimum you have to work for them. And any work you do, if you opt in, Uber's going to pay into a pension pot for you. You'll pay in a bit. They pay out, I think it's 4% or something like that. You don't have to, but it's just there. How many York local bases provide their drivers with a pension. Also, on each job, what you do on Uber, you're going to receive holiday pay. So that gets added to the job. You can just take that off at the end of the week and put it in a separate account. So if you want a day off or a week off, you can just dip into that pot, use that, while you're away. So you're not out of pocket. So again, how many local bases in York give their self-employed drivers holiday pay? I think you'll find the answer's none. And so apparently they're going to have I think they're going to have an office there. I mean, it's a green light hub. That's basically what they are. So drivers will be able to go in there and sign up, get the photograph taken, any issue uploading documents, it all gets sorted there, And I go to the Leeds Green Light Hub, and I've always had a positive experience. The staff there are really good. Always been able to sort my problems out. So there'll be an office there for the drivers if they have any problems. I think one of the other concerns is something to do with toilet facilities. Well, I've worked in York. There's plenty of places all around York. You can use a toilet for free. A lot of businesses I spoke to, you can just use the toilets. That they're not bothered. And also, I did spend a bit of money at some of these joints. So also, you're putting money back into their pockets as well. So there's no issue with that. And there's what was I going to say now? Yeah, there's also the park and ride. So you can park up there briefly if you need to just have a rest or whatever. If it's, as long as it's not busy, you can normally park in the corner out of the way. Nobody tends to bother you. Obviously, if it's like a weekend and it's busy, and obviously just out of courtesy, probably not to go in there. Just leave those spaces free. And if you like train spotting as well, you can spot from some of the park and rides the trains going past as well. But yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up there. It's good all round news. Uber's got the license back to operate in York, and going forward, I personally think it's a positive step. I mean, my videos, I just give my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, on everything that I say. I just give my opinion. My videos, I tell it how it is. They're not fabricated in any way. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get the video shared now and raise awareness. Obviously, that Uber's got the license back, and also it does show what problems we've had as drivers with the York license. Some of the York license drivers, when we've been lawfully working on Uber in York. So don't forget, in the comments as well, there is a link to the YouTube video from 2017 when Uber was refused the license. You'll see in the video there's a chap there, he gets quite a bit excited. He obviously doesn't like Uber very much, and managed to convince most of the committee or whatever it is there not to grab the license. And then also I'll put the link to the childish video which some of the York license drivers made and posted online on YouTube to try and obviously discredit Uber and make fun of its drivers. But you know, to be making silly videos like that, it's just childish, really. It just shows the mentality of some of the drivers there. They're very insular, not very friendly, you know. And from observations as well, most of the cars, I mean, at least on the outside, they were absolutely filthy, you know. I'm driving over there, I'll give my car a good once over. We might, if weather's nice, might even get the wax out, just polish it just before we go online, just to make sure it's looking good for the customers. I mean, some of the cars I saw, it looked like the windows haven't been wiped for about 2 months, you know, fingerprints and all over. And some of the condition, you know, weren't very good, you know, just absolutely filthy. So, you know, from what I hear from the customers there, the service hasn't been very good from some of the local companies. So, you know, it's going to be interesting times, and hopefully now the York licensed drivers will stop behaving like children, and you know, just get on with things and just understand that it's a good earning opportunity. You know, I've been driving for Uber for 2 years now. Yeah, there are times, and you know, when it's quiet, times when it's busy, get problem passengers sometimes, but you're going to get that on a local base. With Uber, you're not getting anybody running off because, you know, there's no problem with payment. You know, and as long as you've got you know, CCTV or a very least front dash cam, rear dash cam, and one it films inside the vehicle. As long as you've got a license for that as well, there's no issue, and you know, it protects your safety and the passenger's safety. I have on occasion had to send footage to Uber so we can see you know, who's telling the correct tale, and as soon as they see the footage, straight away they know that the passenger's lying. So yeah, so that's it for now. We'll see you on the next video, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.